this is where it goes down. Where you hear about the sports all around town. In the country, all the controversy to the highlights. You just not safe in the limelight.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another great edition of the Stoop. It's TJ going on live with you guys. I got my guy Kev.
What's going on, y'all?
All right. And Kev, I'm going to let you always get the opportunity to introduce our live special guest that we got going on for the podcast today. Go ahead, take it away, boy.
All right, well, I'm not going to hit you with the long list of accolades, but once again, we have visiting with us today, Mr. Nabate Isles, none other than the host of Where They At. So we're going to get right to it. We're going to start today with new Euro, old Euro style of basketball. TJ, go ahead and kick this off.
So we're looking at right now the style of play is definitely transcending, and we had a great bunch of talent coming in the last couple of years. But we also want to think back to some of the guys who don't kind of get the kudos for what they brought to the league. We've seen an influx of European talent coming in pre-Dream Team, so I would say about late to mid 80s, we've seen a great crop come in, and then we've seen it really start to migrate over in those early 90s. My mind takes me back to our Drazen Petrovics, our Sarunas Marciulionis, our Arvydas Sabonis, and those guys. And then we fast forward to see the level of play where we thought we were going to see from our guy Tony Kukoc, but he did go on to be a part of that second three-peat. So, Nabate, I'm going to go ahead and segue and start some things with you. I'm going to tell you a quick story that I was listening to. I'm in so many different podcast chat groups, but it was a gentleman who had a nice, decent career in the NBA, and his mentor was Mitch Richmond. And he talked about the 2-on-2 games that him and Mitch Richmond used to play against Chris Mullin and Sarunas Marciulionis. And he said Sarunas Marciulionis was the toughest guy that he ever seen play, hands down. I want you to, share and think about those guys back in the Europe days, man. Anybody who stuck out to you. I know Drazen was one of those personal favorites of mine. I love those Nets years, him and Kenny Anderson, but I don't want to talk too much, man. I want to let you go ahead and give your insight and your feel on it.
Yeah, yes, indeed. I mean, Marciulionis was definitely rugged player, and also southpaw too. You know what I mean? Lefty. So, but he was great off the bench for the Golden State Warriors. Especially the Run TMC days, gave them a new look. He was probably the best. No, he was the best defender, best perimeter defender for sure. But Marciulionis was great coming out of Lithuania, and that Lithuanian team, I believe.
Yes.
They were the silver medalists, right? In '92, it was Croatia. It was one of the two nations. But
I'm pretty sure it was Lithuania.
Yeah. But the most talent came out of there. Croatia with Tony Kukoc,
right.
And Drazen Petrovic from Croatia, and then the former Yugoslavia, which Serbia is another nation, Vlade Divac. And it's a shame that Drazen Petrovic and Vlade Divac didn't have a relationship when the Civil War hit. Right. And everything, and that separated those nations. So that's a real shame about that. But I remember this cat from Germany though, Detlef Schrempf. That cat he was ahead of his time. I mean, he had handle. He was big. He was 6'10", had a mid-range game, 2-time sixth man of the year with the Pacers, and then he went on to the Sonics. Yeah. I mean, everywhere he went, he won when you think about it. So he was my favorite international player back in the late 80s, early 90s, for sure.
Okay. And one thing, another article I read, it was back in the day when I was a kid, people never gave, speaking of Vlade really, once Kareem retired, they didn't have a 5. Magic was on record as saying, like, Vlade was instrumental in us continuing to win post-Kareem. Like, people don't really realize and give that credit. Nabate, what's your thoughts about that?
Oh, Vlade was amazing passer, could do everything well. He was another winner because with the Lakers, he was with the Lakers after Kareem retired.
Sacramento.
I believe Vlade play in the finals in 91?
Yes, he did.
He was a rookie. He was a rookie, right? Mm-hmm. That's what I thought. Yep, exactly. And then he almost helped the Lakers come back from that. Upset the Phoenix Suns. Remember, that would have been the first time that an 8 seed beat a number 1 seed, but they blew it. But Vlade was killing them in that series. And also when he went to Charlotte, they were very good with him and Anthony Mason. Of course, he was the Kobe Bryant deal. It was the one-on-one deal where he was the guy traded for Kobe Bryant. And then Sacramento, he was ridiculous. I mean, him.
We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that.
Yes, indeed. Peja Stojakovic and C-Web,
I'm glad that you brought up Vlade Divac because TJ and I were kind of talking about this earlier today when we mentioned some of the European and the style and some of the big men and their ability to pass, and that's something that they brought into the NBA. Vlade comes to mind. Detlef Schrempf is one of them. I also think comes to mind is Arvydas Sabonis, as we've touched on before. Very versatile player. But one of the guys that I kind of liked, but he didn't come to as much as I thought he would have, was AK-47, Andre Kirilenko. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, Kirilenko had a lot of injury problems, unfortunately, but for like a 3-4 year period, he was one of the
dangerous.
best two-way players. And, I mean, this cat, beautiful player, man, did everything well. And you would think that I think if he was healthy for fully in his career, because he's still one of the great Utah Jazzes to ever play in their franchise history for sure. But if he was healthy, I think they could have made a finals for sure. Like he was just a tremendous player, and that's a great name you guys mentioned because he's really underrated.
I think they were probably another wing player away from really doing numbers with hearing Darren Williams, D. Will, and Andre Kirilenko. And they were that We Believe team. Y'all remember how my man Baron Davis did him off that baseline? Let's be clear.
Remember Hakeem got jammed on by Kevin Johnson. It happens.
Yeah, we talked about that in another podcast. Like he's still having nightmares about that, man.
Hakeem said to Kevin Johnson, he said, "Oh, very good, little man. Not gonna happen again, little man." You know? Yes.
That's one of the knocks about a lot of these Euro-style cats. They don't play defense as well, and they get exposed defensively. A lot of them don't rotate well. Their footwork is not as impeccable as some of the guys here in the States, and so on and so forth. But
try telling that to Rudy Gobert.
Oh,
that's a Frenchman. So, I give you that. But,
he's a good brother. He's a good brother.
I want to take it back to a guy, and this illustrates. Now, post work was fine. Could have been a little bit better. I think he utilized his size well. We talk about the Duncan Dutchman, Rick Smits. Also, people overlook when they have this conversation because Rick Smits was the anchor with those Davis boys, Mark Jackson, of course, the great Reggie Miller, and so on and so forth. But when we're talking about that level of play in the 90s, Rick Smits was a formidable big. Nabate, what's your thoughts?
Yes. Oh, Rick Smits was, a lot of skill. Unfortunately, he had a lot of foot problems himself, but he did make that All-Star team. I remember he made his first All-Star game, I believe, in his 10th season, which was really good for him when the game was played in '98 at the Garden. That was really good for him to get there. But it's funny. Guess whose father played with Rick Smits at Marist, which is interesting.
Who's that?
Rudy Bargarel, which is the father of Rudy Gobert.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy. It's crazy. Him and Rich
Nabate with the gems.
That's why, ladies and gentlemen, that's why he's on the stoop, y'all. We got nothing but the best. Let's continue to rock and roll. I don't know if you remember Nabate going back to that Vlade Divas point in the early Suns series. People don't realize, like Vlade, like Magic said, was really instrumental in working things out for the Lakers post Kareem. Vlade averaged a double-double against Mark West and was killing him in the post and really being active to start the things off. And I think at that point, you started seeing the validity in what was going on in Europe. Vlade really was unheard of, and also like a big man that you could do a lot during those times, actually pull forward. Because, everybody in Laker lore was still Kareem. For Vlade to really come along and be instrumental was serious. Thoughts on that?
Wow. It's funny. I think with Vlade, like he was unselfish. Yeah. That's what it was. He was unselfish, and that's the thing. A lot of the European players are usually that way. You know what I mean? Because it's like, and especially at that time, they're just blessed to be in America. They were blessed to get out of their situation. You know what I mean? With those countries and the war and the strife going on. And remember, that was right after when the Berlin Wall fell, and everything. So they're just happy to be in the country. But that's but the skill set that they had, it's like they can be able to fit any which way with the skill set that they possess.
Well, I'm happy you brought that up because that's something I wanted to touch on as well, because we know that Europeans have brought a lot to the game. Most notably the Euro step is probably one of the biggest things that people are going to touch on. But the style of play has significantly influenced the NBA.
Yes.
There's the more ball movement, particularly around the perimeter. We've seen a lot of teams pick up that style. We're moving away from so much of the heavy isolations down low as opposed to the driving kick. A lot of these teams are picking these things up. Probably most notably, San Antonio has used the farm system to pull up players from the European leagues. TJ, give me your thoughts on some of these guys that have come along and how the NBA has utilized the European League to make the NBA even better.
I mean, I'm going to start right with this one, Kevin. That's a great point, bro. You know, back then in the Dream Team, and we've seen in the ESPN segments and everything moving forward, man, like Chicago had their eye and originally had drafted Kukoc, and they left him over there to develop. And about that, I want to ask you a question because this is a debate that I've had in the barbershop, my father, a lot of people. Is Kukoc, and this is what I'm saying, is Kukoc underrated or overrated?
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah.
I think underrated because he never got to be the main man on a team. And the thing was that too was a major adjustment period when he ended up coming to the Bulls in '93. That was when Mike retired. Michael, you know, because he was Mike Jordan until he hit that shot in '82. You know, against George. Against George. So
we're waiting for that to come up.
But seriously, I think Kukoc, though, he had a tough time adjusting. But Phil Jackson had confidence in him. And I think if Mike didn't come back, thank God he did come back. But I'm saying if he never came back, Kukoc could have developed into an all-star, at least a 2-3-time all-star for sure. So I think he had the skill set. But once again, it was just trying to make that adjustment to American life, American culture. But also, too, he wanted to adjust to what was asked of him. And he played his role pretty well. Remember, he was Sixth Man of the Year.
Yes. Phil absolutely had the utmost confidence in him, and I'm sure you guys recall giving that last shot to him as opposed to giving it to Pippen, and Pippen decided, I'm sitting this one out. That's how much confidence he had in that man. And I believe, as well as you're saying, he might have been underrated, but he also didn't have probably his best years here as well. He played most of his years overseas. So
yeah, but that was his best year when he won the Sixth Man a year with the 72 win team.
Yep.
Tony's on record, y'all. You go back to his Croatian league records, like several 30-point games in a row. Like the man was a gun overseas in Europe, and I don't know if it was just he didn't match up well into that triangle system. It took him too long to adjust. He just didn't get there in enough time. I think people really counted him out before he really understood the system and the style of American play, because it's totally different. Trapezoid lanes, all types of other rules and adjustments you got to make that are not necessarily ones you got to do in the Europe style of basketball. And I think, Nabate, I definitely agree. Kev, you want to chime in? You think, in your way in on Kukoc, underrated, overrated, bro?
I'm going with underrated as well. The waiter has served up many people in his time. And coming into that Chicago situation in that first year, he played okay, but there was a language barrier. There was a whole lot, the culture, everything had to make an adjustment. But by the time Mike came back, now he's got to readjust a second time within the second year, because obviously Mike is Mike, and then you have Pip, so he's now fall to the third guy in that lineup. But he adjusted well, as well as Rodman coming in after that. So he made the adjustments well, and like we said, he ended up being Sixth Man of the Year, so he did what he had to do. But it's unfortunate that, like I said, he spent his most formative years in Croatia. By the time he got here, he had to play behind Mike. So
by the time, and I'm going to keep going with your point, Kev, we're looking at style of play and how the Euro guys transcended a lot of things. I'm looking at that 99 season up until 2005. If we take a trip out west to Sagtown, the Sacramento Kings had an unbelievable run and a whole bunch of talent that unfortunately, if they were not in the same conference as the Los Angeles Lakers, we had an opportunity to watch a lot of Western Conference battles between, the Blazers and the Lakers, the Kings and the Lakers. But Hedo Turkoglu, Peja Stojakovic, Vlade Divac, all were a part of those 2000 Kings teams. High arcing shots, definitely a lot of fallaways, a lot of different shooting styles. Nabate, let me ask you this. Do you think, and people give a lot of credit to Steph Curry in ushering in high-level percentages from the three, but people don't remember how Peja and Hedo Turkoglu were putting up threes at an abundance like we've never seen before. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's when the three-point shot was starting to become more prevalent, because in the 90s, it was still there, but you had basically specialists.
Mm-hmm.
But now you started to have a lot of players in the rotation be able to shoot threes, and that was the key right there. And the Kings, I mean, the ball movement, a lot like how the Golden State Warriors play, like kind of like that high percentage shots, fancy ball movement. I mean, everyone could pass. C-Web, Divac, Turkoglu, all of them could pass,
White
so, and of course you had White, and then you had Mike Bibby afterwards, who actually is funny, was more that shooter, than
right.
I mean, really, Weber and Divac was passing more than him, really,
right.
and which was good because that presented mismatches. So they definitely those Kings teams in the early 2000s. I mean, you look at them. They're the greatest team never to make the NBA Finals. They're equivalent to the San Diego Chargers in football in the early 80s, equivalent to the Oilers in the early 90s in football. Like those teams that, equivalent to the Mariners in 2001 that didn't make the World Series and won 116 games. They're up there with those teams.
Better, so you would say they're more prevalent than the New York Knicks teams in the 90s that couldn't get past Chicago? Because I'm gonna be honest with you.
You know what? The Knicks were just an extension of the Bad Boys. That's what it was. The Knicks were extension. But when it came to offensive fluidity, the Kings definitely, I think, with how the game is played now, the Sacramento Kings, that's exactly what the NBA got away from. And I love my Knicks, don't get me wrong, but that's what the NBA got away from when you had scores of 80 to 70. That's what the Knicks partook in the 90s.
At that particular time, just about everybody wanted to play in Sacramento as well because they just made it look so much fun, much like the Golden State Warriors of the last 5 years have done. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a huge part of the European influences, as you said, with Peja and Hito. So, but with that being said, one of the things I wanted to bring up is in the early 80s, a statistic shows from Court Games that only 2% of players were born outside of the NBA. And as of the 2016-2017 season, about a quarter of them, large number of them obviously being European. Mm-hmm. And so much so that it's translated in today now where three of the five key award winners are European players. Mm-hmm. Last season we had Antetokounmpo win MVP. Mm-hmm. We had Rudy Gobert win Defensive Player of the Year. Mm-hmm. And we had Luka Doncic win Rookie of the Year.
And also Siakam.
Siakam, right? That's right. He got most improved.
Yep,
that's correct. The only U.S.-born winner that year was Lou Williams, Sixth Man of the Year. There you go. But with that being said, that just goes to show how much that the NBA has transitioned into the European style of play.
Definitely. So, hey, can I just put a pin right there because I'm gonna transition to the new Europe, and I got a couple of questions. Okay. Nabate, I just got one quick question I want to probe you for, and Kev, you can jump on this one too. Okay. Mm-hmm. One of these guys, do you think faltered and we didn't get a chance to see them in a glorious run in the NBA? Is it Arvydas Sabonis or Drazen Petrovic? Who would it be?
Ooh, you know what? I would say Drazen because we never got to see his full potential. Arvydas Sabonis, we did see his full potential, but overseas. And then in the NBA, he still got to play like 7 years with the Portland Trailblazers.
He still had a solid career.
Yeah, and was part of those contending teams, for sure. But Drazen, with him dying though, and not being able to really flourish. I remember talking with Kenny Anderson in the Where They At podcast on the 13th episode. You can check it out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play. I had to put the plug out there.
Let's do it.
But Kenny Anderson said that Drazen Petrovic, to him, the most underrated player ever. He said like he was the best shooter he ever played with, ever saw too. So
I can believe
hell of a competitor.
I can believe that.
Yes, indeed.
I'm gonna come back to Kev because he wanted two fellas begin to open up that envelope. So when we get past the 2000s, we look at the Tony Parkers and we look at the Manu Ginobilis, and we begin to see an influx of guys that we've never seen before, size-wise, capability to handle the ball on the floor, shooting, rebounding, offensive skill set. The prowess was immense. Now we've even transformed and fast forward into the 10s. Now we're looking at guys like, Kristaps Porzingis, Luka Doncic, of course, the Greek Freak, who's won multiple who's probably going to win multiple MVPs this year. And we've also seen the great Dirk Nowitzki come about as well. In your eyes, Nabate, let me just start this off, bro. Who do you think has been the most instrumental coming into the new Euro? And then we got the guys like the Joker and Luka. Who's going to be the guy to continue to carry the mantle forward, so to speak?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, Dirk Nowitzki's, you got to say he's the greatest European player ever. I mean, there's no doubt about it. You got to start with him. And I mean, what he did, and he was someone I remember. And Kev, remember I was bigging him up back in the day, in the very beginning. No one knew about him, because I remember seeing him in the Hoop Summit where he dropped like 36 and 19.
So, hands down, better than Tony, better than Manu, better than Paul Gasol. Gasol. Still, you still going with Dirk?
Absolutely, okay. for sure. Right. No question. But I think Luka is funny. Jerry West said recently, that Luka is going to be the greatest player in Mavericks history over Dirk Nowitzki. Jerry West said that, and I think Luka can be, but Joker himself. Oh, I mean, now they have a chance. Both of them have a chance to surpass Dirk. Joker and Porzingis. I don't think he can stay healthy enough. He'll be great. He'll be great, but I don't think he stay healthy enough.
With that being said, now I got a question for you, and you as well, TJ.
Okay.
I kind of put together two teams where I have some of the older Europeans and some of the newer Europeans, and I'm not saying that these are the best five. I just think that these guys would probably work well with one another in a team format. Okay. So there may be other players that you think are deserving of a spot, but it's not that they're not deserving. I just think about how it would work in terms of fluidity. So I'm looking from the old European team. I got Tony Parker at point guard, Drazen Petrovic at shooting guard, Peja at small forward.
Oh, wow.
Dirk at power forward.
Oh, wow.
And Arvydas Sabonis at center. Okay? Now you go into the new team. I got Goran Dragic at point guard, Luka Doncic at shooting guard, Giannis at small forward, Kristaps Porzingis at power forward, and the Joker at center. Now you put those two teams up against one another. Let me know if you need me to run it back.
Let you go ahead, bro.
You let me know who you got winning this game.
All right. Who's on the first team again? First team?
On first team, you got Tony Parker, Drazen Petrovic, Peja Stojakovic, Dirk Nowitzki, and Arvydas Sabonis.
Is there a six-man coming off the hold on about that? Is there a
second team? You got Doncic.
Huh?
Who coming off the bench?
Maybe Marcelonis for the first team.
If we put Marcelonis on the old team and Manu on the new team, I just want to ask, can we do that?
Ooh. We could do that. You want to put Manu, even though he's kind of like in between the two, right. You can put Manu on the new team.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I would go with the second team because, wow. I would go with the second team, close game. Second team, close game.
Okay.
And
what you got, TJ?
I'm going to have to go with the first team. I'm going to tell you why.
Give me some insight, please.
That backcourt got a champion in Tony Parker. He got a champion in Tony Parker, not only the fact that Tony Parker was able to carry the Spurs sometimes when Timmy couldn't get it done and Manu wasn't playing. There would have been days where Tony Parker would just go off.
Mm-hmm.
Drazen was
very high percentage in the paint. So.
Yeah, he get to that lane and he just gonna give you that floater and it's unstoppable.
And fast.
Yeah, like his changes direct, his speed was crazy, open floor. Who was at the four on that old team?
On the old team, Dirk.
Yo.
Listen, Tony Parker's got nothing but guys to kick to between Petrovic, Stojakovic, and Nowitzki. There's nothing you can do. And then even if you wanted to shut that down, Dirk can still go down low. And then you have Arvydas Sabonis who can facilitate at any given time. I might have to go with TJ on this one and go with the first squad.
Nah, but hold on, though. Nabate, you got one. Let me see if you caught this too.
Okay.
Nobody can stop the Freak, though. Defensively, it's tough.
That's what I'm saying, like, especially post defense as well as on ball. Like, he can guard three positions and he can handle. And also you got Porzingis, Doncic, and Joker, who got unlimited range. They'll take they can hit three. That's what I mean. Threes like from 30 feet, So and Dragic too could just be a facilitator. That's all he could do.
Which he does that well. And he does that well.
So that's what I mean. I mean, you have 4 players. Those 4 players that at their max potential could be top 50, top 40 players in the history of the game at their max potential in Joker, Doncic, Porzingis, and Giannis. So
and Nabate, I want to go back to that, bro, because you ain't off the hook on that one. So you saying right now, transcending into the future, give me your top 3 Eurocast. Let me just see where you at right now. Give me even top 5.
Are we talking about now or are we talking about
right now? I'm going somewhere with this.
Okay, right now. Okay, in no particular order. Giannis, of course. Euro. Okay, Euro. I was about to mention Siakam too, but he's African. But yeah, I keep thinking of overall foreigners. Sorry, but Giannis, Rudy Gobert. No particular order.
Okay.
Doncic, Joker, and I'll go with KP for with him being healthy. KP was already an all-star.
Because you said so. Are you going with Luka over KP? Because let's be clear, when KP got hurt, he came back from a serious injury, being 7+. But let's be clear, when Luka was out with the ankle situation, he balled out. He looked like old Knicks KP. And let's be clear, he put the franchise on his back post Melo. And I honestly really think they did him a disservice, because if you really wanted to get some free agents coming to New York, KP was going to be the drawing card to get them there. What's your thoughts on that, Nabate? What's up?
Ooh, I don't think so though. I think it was good. Yeah, I don't think so with KP. I mean, I think if it was more KD, then people would come. You know what I mean? But I don't think KP has that
not a box office draw.
You know what I'm saying? Not
a 7'4" guy with a jump shot and can play inside out. Not a draw?
Oh no, he's a draw, but I'm saying within the NBA community, I don't think he has that respect yet. You know, because he's still an outsider. Still an outsider, but Luka Doncic, I gotta say what he can do. I mean, you put in 30-point triple doubles, like no one has done that since Oscar and Westbrook. You know what I mean? Like, and with more efficiency than Westbrook. Right. So, and at a young age, because Westbrook at 21 wasn't doing that. Luka's 21, but also
he came in the game beasting.
That's right, and it helped being in the La Liga, European League, the best.
Playing with grown men as a kid.
Best European League, yeah, absolutely.
Hey, Kev, let me ask you a question, Kev.
What's up, bro?
And this is something that I think we've discussed in the past before, and I want to drop back to this again because I can't leave it so long. I want y'all to talk about this. If Tony Kukoc never would have came to the Bulls, would they still have won?
That's a really good question. Do I think they still would have won any? Yes. Do I think they win 3 in a row? Probably not.
That's fair.
Now, which one? That's a really tough question, because just as Nabate alluded to earlier, the 72 win season, he got 6th man of the year. So he's obviously an important piece of that puzzle. I'm gonna go with yes, but not 3.
Okay. Nabate, what we got?
Nabate?
Ooh. I think they still would have won 3, because with Mike and Pip, you know what I'm saying, and the Worm, I think they would have been able to get someone that would play Kukoc. And don't get me wrong, I'm not taking away from Tony Kukoc. It's just the system, what Phil Jackson ran, and when you have Mike, like they won a 3-peat without Kukoc for 91 and 93, and the league was tougher at that time.
But here's my standpoint on that, and while I do agree, we did go through periods within that 3-year run where Scotty had back issues, and Kukoc definitely stepped in and helped out a lot. So if you take that into consideration, like I said, I still think they win, maybe 2, but I don't think 3.
Yeah, that's true with Pip. He would have had to be healthier. He would have had to play, or even play more hurt and stuff. But Yeah, and would they have found a player as skilled as Kukoc? Because now you can find players that play similar games now. But back then, it was still specialists, basically. You had your four that was just a rebounder and bruiser inside. So, yeah, I do see what you're saying with Kukoc's game being ahead of its time. Very true.
So let me ask you guys, because we have about 5 minutes left on the counter. We've been talking that long, I didn't even realize it. And it's been great so far. If you can give me your top three European, I'm going to say give me your top three foreign players of all time, non-American. And you can give me why, but your top three overall, any era, any style of play, just top three non-American players all time. What you guys got from me?
Ooh, okay. Kev, I'm going to have you go first.
Go ahead. You want to go first?
Oh, no, you got it. You got it. I'll let you go first.
Well, if we're talking about out of the country now, we're not even talking about European.
Top three all time.
All time. Dirk's still in there, of course.
Okay.
Olajuwon's in there, of course.
Okay.
Third one, man, we really got to I'm going to have to get back to me on the third one. I really have to dig deep. Those two, to me, are no-brainers. The third one, I got to really, go through my mental Rolodex and figure out who I'm going to put in there because I don't want to leave anybody off.
I got it.
Yeah. No, I agree with Hakeem. Hakeem's the best ever from another nation for sure. And then you have Dirk, of course. I would say, Nash, third, two-time MVP, Steve Nash.
Well, I have my reservations with Nash, and that's not taking anything away from his greatness. That's not taking anything away from his greatness. I just think he's got 2 MVPs under his belt that I'm not 100% sure that he should have gotten them. That's not taking away from his greatness again, but that's beside the point. But if you want to put him in a conversation for the greatest born outside of the country, I can give that to you, but I still can't.
But third, he'll be a third behind those guys.
Absolutely.
And if you go by accolades, 2-time MVP, still 2-time MVP, for
yes,
sure.
It is.
But
well, then you could also give Dikembe Mutombo a nod. Obviously he's very limited offensively, but you can't take away from his defensive prowess and what he brought to the team, rebounding and everything.
One of the greatest ever, Kev. Dikembe's fault is be real. He's just on bad teams. Dikembe is one of the most transcending defensive players of all time. He's up there with the Wilts, the Russells, just on bad teams. And he did have an offensive game.
Yeah.
But defensively, unstoppable. This finger whack.
Dikembe.
I'm about to go.
Dikembe was on good team. Remember, he was part of that Nuggets team.
He was on the floor with
the first upset against the Sonic.
And then Atlanta in the late '90s, they were good. They were contenders in the playoffs. And then also don't forget Philly with AI. He was traded.
He went to the finals with Philly.
Absolutely. So, but I gotta say, going back real quick, and I'll go back to you, TJ. Like, with Steve Nash, Kev, the first one definitely disputed. The first MVP. The second one he deserved for sure because that's when Stat hurt his knee and was out for the season.
If they didn't clear out that Phoenix Suns team and start trading pieces away with Quentin Richardson and got rid of those guys, the pace that they ran in D'Antoni's system.
Oh, yeah. And then of course 2007, the next year they should have won. We know that. We know what happened there with Robert Horry.
Big shot, Bob.
That Suns team with Stat, the Matrix, Nash, Quentin Rich. I'm talking. Was one of the great. Joe Johnson was out there. Like people really got to do their research. That Phoenix team, they broke apart way too early, and the Colangelos did them a diss. I know that's your guy, but the Colangelos way too soon. I'm just being like you, me and Kev. We talk basketball, and I love basketball. Like, up here in my mind, I remember rosters and teams and personnel. That Phoenix Suns team prematurely was disassembled, but that's another conversation.
But I gotta say, Jerry wasn't part of that. Jerry's with the Diamondbacks. So so Jerry he knows what's up. He wouldn't for sure.
My apologies, Mr. Colangelo. That team was broken up unbeknownst to me, I don't know why, but they just got people out of town too fast. Let me get back to my 3 real quick because we have about a minute and a half left.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to definitely go with Dikembe, Dirk, and I have to go with Giannis. I think that young man.
Yep.
The sky is
he's up there.
limit. He just has so much talent, and he gained 20 pounds of muscle mass. That's early in his career. That's really what he lacked. But now
50 pounds. 50.
Yeah, he came in a noodle.
Yeah.
He came in a noodle.
Over the years. Yep.
So his level of growing into his body and his frame, developing an outside jump shot. I just see him being something that post LeBron, he's gonna be the one. He's gonna be the one. And
yeah. No, he is
a bigger market. Like, the Lakers acquiring his brother. I think that'll hopefully be it once LeBron fizzles out. But Giannis got to be the one for me. Giannis, Dirk, and Dikembe over the years. That's my 3.
I got to tell you, when Giannis is going to go, though, right?
Let's talk about it, bro.
No, we're not going to do that right now.
That's
another discussion. That's another discussion.
Another discussion. We leave it a cliffhanger.
There it is. Thank you for coming out again, Nabate. Appreciate you as always, my man.
Y'all. Absolutely.
Nabate, you my guy. Thank you for coming out, being a part of another great episode of The Stoop. Listen, everybody, make sure you continue to tune in. We're going to bring that guy back. He's excellent. Nabate, thank you so much for coming in, tuning in with us again. My guy, Kev, we're going to sign out, guys. Thank you so much for being a part of another great episode of The Stoop. Take care, everyone.
Some say that it gets no real on the field or the court. We capture the thrillers. Some opinions and all of the truth. Real people talking real sports on The Stoop.